Hey guys, Billy here, and today I'm going to make a small guide on Tazevesh hard mode, precisely aiming to teach you what each bosses do, since these are pretty much the most risky parts of the dungeon. I don't believe the trash is that much to worry about, so just mainly going to be touching on the bosses for now. The reward from doing Tazevesh hard mode is all 5 players get a guaranteed piece of mythic track loot. So it's pretty insane because all 5 people can get a piece of loot from this. Oh yeah, and you only get 1 chance per week. Before I start talking about bosses, I want to talk about some methods that we tried to cheese the hard mode that did not work, and also some things to be careful for. The TLDR of this section is that pretty much you need to complete all 8 bosses legitly. Same 5 people, all have the buff, no deaths, none of that. But some methods that we tried were we would try to swap in a different 5 people, like 5 fresh characters for just the last boss. And pretty much like you have the street smart buff right here, but the chest still did not spawn. So like this is the important buff you gotta look for. If you don't have this buff, then you are pretty much invalid character, or you have, you're done for the week, right? Pretty much. If one person doesn't have this buff right here, when the boss dies, like say 4 people have it, and you spawn in someone who failed earlier the week and they don't have the buff, it will take the buff away from everyone on any boss death. So there's no cheesing that way. And also, something that you want to be careful for that I really hope Blizzard fixes, and I'll test it right now, is that, like I said, this is the buff that you need. If you're, say, about to do a key, you're about to do a gambit. I hope they fix this, by the way. If you're about to do a gambit or streets, and one person jumps off and dies, falls, for whatever reason, you die, you lose the buff. And it takes the buff away from your party members, too. So, like I said, I hope Blizzard fixes this, because this means that I'm gonna be avoiding streets and gambit pugs, because someone could quite literally grief your buff. So just be careful of that. Now, before I start, I want to clarify, if you do die, you can still progress through the dungeon and you can get hero track loot from each boss. You just don't get the bonus mythic loot at the end. Pretty much there's no, like, mythic 0 does not exist. Only hard mode exists. So like mythic 0 Tazevesh is hard mode. So every week you do it, it'll drop hero gear for this. And the way you start it is, you see on the top, it's kind of covered in my reputation bar, but this starts the hard mode right here. So when you start it, it'll give a timer, and if you can kind of see at the top, it says 1 of 5. So you need all 5 people to accept the queue to start the dungeon, and then you're off. So for the first boss, the hard mode mechanic is that you are pretty much fighting the mini boss on top of the big boss. Normally in Mythic Plus, you kill the mini boss, it spawns the mini boss. Well, the hard mode mechanic is that you fight both at the same time. So pretty much, you do both mechanics. You should know both mechanics already, because you're doing them both at once, right? So like, what happens is the mini boss casts a spell. You don't want to let it go off. I'm pretty sure a melee can solo kick in. So not being too dealing with interrupts, just one person can solo kick the adder here, and then you're just doing the boss normally. The mini boss does an AoE pulse, which you'll see probably right here, called Radiant Pulse. You can see my nameplate, it's going to cast in like 3 seconds. So you want to try to watch out for overlaps of the Radiant Pulse right here, which does damage to us. You can see our health pool. And whatever the boss does, right? Because sometimes the boss takes your weapon and does damage to you, throws the blades out. So you want to watch these overlaps of the boss. And pretty much, like, obviously you guys know the boss from Mythic Plus, where you got to free the person from the cage. You want to make sure this person goes far. And if you have an out, like, some classes can get out of it. Like, I know DKs can AMS it, rogues can cloak it, paladins can probably bubble it, humans can racial out of it, mages can blink or ice block it. Pretty much anything that can get you out of it is going to be very nice for this boss. But if not, if you can't get out of it, then you definitely want to run far and have your teammates, save some damage and kill it. Like, if you have no damage, that person will die. If it reaches that person, they will die. So you want to be careful about that. But other than that, it's just a normal boss fight. I would recommend just, popping lust, focusing down the ad, and after that, it's just a normal fight. So for the second boss, or the Menagerie boss, pretty much what happens is, on Mythic Plus, the boss, it's like a council boss, right? There's 3 bosses. The council boss, the second one comes down when the other one gets low. That's how it works in Mythic Plus. In hard mode or M0, how it works is it's timer based. So what I have written down here on my notepad is obviously the boss on pole, and the second boss comes in at 20 seconds exactly, and the third boss comes in at 55 seconds exactly. So pretty much the strat of hard mode would be if this group doesn't have lust and we took off pieces of gear. So our damage is low, right? So you'll see at about 20 seconds, the second boss is spawned, Achilles, whatever his name is, Achilles. I probably said that wrong. But this is the time you want to lust. Because what happens is if you don't kill this first guy long enough, you take a long time, you might end up fighting all three bosses at once, right? I had this happen in one of the runs where our damage was really low, where you're fighting all three at once, and that's not really ideal. So that's gonna be the strategy for hard mode, is to lust once the second guy comes out. Some things you want to be careful in this boss. These are just normal mechanics of Mythic Plus, but obviously the two mechanics that are scary is this suck. If you get sucked in, you'll die. Just run against it. Don't greed cast. Just run against it. That's the thing. The suck will kill you. And then the second one is the chains of damnation that you can see the goblin lady casting. If you are chained and an orb runs into you, like that, you might be scared, right? However, there is ways to cheese it. Like if you can break out of roots, I think maybe druids can break out of roots. Tiger's Lust from monks, freedom from paladins, a lot of things, right? A lot of things can break out of the roots, so that's going to be very helpful for this fight. And paladins are definitely overpowered. So if you get break out of the roots, then you want to just kill it. So that's going to be the big thing about this fight. It's just the suck, the roots, and the overlap of bosses. But the overlap of bosses will be, a lot easier if you lust when the second guy comes out, 20 seconds into the fight. So for the third boss of the dungeon, the postmaster, the normal mechanic of this boss is that you pick up the 5 bombs and you throw it into the deposit point. So they don't blow up, right? Because if the timer goes out, then they'll blow up. The hard mode mechanic is that when you pick up one of these bombs, you are rooted. Normally, you just go throw it in yourself on normal mode, but you are going to be rooted when you throw it in. So pretty much, if you're rooted, if you're a class that's like a druid, a paladin, or like a monk, anything that can kind of get out of roots, you're pretty valuable on this boss. Druids and paladins particularly are very valuable because of druids can spam shapeshift, paladins can double freedom, and freedom lasts a while. So those two classes are very OP on this boss. But if that's not your comp, then you're gonna want to do it how Blizzard intended, which is what we did. Is we had one person kind of stand by the deposit point, which is right here, and we all would throw bombs to them, and they would throw it in, right? So like you can throw all bombs on him at once as long as he is in this circle right here. The bomb won't blow up. If he's not in the circle, it'll be lit up. It'll look kind of like the one in the back, but it'll be lit up, and that means it'll blow up if it hits the ground. So you want to be in the circle. You want to throw it to him on the circle. When you pick up a bomb, you get an extra action button. You can see right here my extra action button, and I'm gonna throw it to him, and he's gonna throw it in, right? So that's like the whole gimmick of the fight, is that you kind of just like hot potato it over, and have one person kind of anchor the thing, preferably your healer, I'd say. And so he has all these bombs being thrown to him, and he's gonna throw all of them in, and then win the boss, right? This is the first set of bombs you do. You might get 2 on the next week, so you got to be careful. Like this is the first one is a lot easier than the second one, because what happens is if you don't soak the purple circles, you'll spawn more of these like purple puddles, and the puddles are just more room denial, so it's gonna be a lot harder, right? So I would say I'd recommend having like 2 people be ready to anchor, preferably a healer and probably a ranged DPS. Like in this case, in this comp, our healer was just standing by the anchor point, and we throw bombs to him. If it was very bad puddle spawns, I would help him, but the puddle spawns are kind of easy for us, so it was well done. Other than that, the boss just goes as normal. I would say prep for doing 2 sets of these bombs. You probably don't need to do more than that. Definitely lust on pull. Definitely lust on pull this boss. Because maybe if your damage is really high and you're really good, you could probably skip the second one. But just be ready to do the second one. Right? Like obviously you see the second bombs have spawned, and we're gonna kill the boss, right? But maybe next week that won't be the case. So just be ready to do this the second set too. So the fourth boss, aka the band boss or Zogron, whatever you want to call him, the main hard mode change is that how he spawns 2 ad waves and then spawns himself. Well, the second ad wave is like a completely different pack. It's actually a bunch of mini bosses, but I'll get into that in a second. The first pack is per normal. It's a normal pack you see Mythic Plus. Pretty much what happens is these security guards, Oasis security guards, they cast a shout. I believe it could be solo kick by melee. So you want to assign 2 melee kicks to these securities. And then after that, you want to rotate kicks on the patron, which is the mob in the middle in front of the yell bubble. But this guy casts a bolt ability. So this pull over here, there's a lot of casts, right? There's 2 security guards, and then the patron spams bolts. The bolts are not that big of a deal if they go off, not gonna lie, but like if you have free kicks, definitely use them, but they're not a big deal. I would say you want to more watch for the security guards like shout cast that you want to interrupt. So that's the first pack of the gauntlet. The second pack of the gauntlet spawns a bunch of named mini bosses, and they all trickle in one by one. So your tank needs to pick them up one by one. They don't all spawn in at once. But pretty much there's only 2 notable mechanics in here. Everything else is pretty much just dodge. Actually, maybe there's 3, but everything else is pretty much just dodge the ground, the frontal, and the circles. But the one of the things for healers to know is that Hips, he's the second guy that spawns. He does a pulsing AOE called Drum Roll. As you can see, he casts Drum Roll. We have some absorbs on ourselves. I think I didn't press a single button defensively, and look how much damage it does. Right, like this is something your healer needs to probably heal and watch out for. So that's the healer mechanic. That's one of the 3 mechanics that you need to watch out for. The second is that the 4th guy that comes out, Evale, is the only guy that you can kick on this pull. Everything else that doesn't have an interrupt, so he's the only one you got to worry about. So everyone just call kicks on Evale. I don't really know what the casts do, but he only is the only caster, so that's the one thing you got to worry about. He casts Screeching Note and Discordant Song. There's 2 different casts, but it's on the same mob, so it's not that big of a deal. Just call kicks on him. And the third mechanic is something called Sound Blast. This guy does, which is like a single target damage on one person. I imagine maybe like a Sound Blast plus a Drum Roll overlap could be very scary, but just like if you see Drum Roll or you see the single target like a Sound Blast, just watch your health, press the health pot, press defensives, and you should be fine. Other than that, just like a kick. I think right there we actually let a cast go off. I don't even know what it did, but obviously just kick them off and it'll be fine. This pack isn't that hard. Just live defensively and kick the guy and dodge the frontals and everything, all that. So the last part of the gauntlet is when the boss spawns himself. Um, this boss has 2 things you want to watch out for. One is the suck. So what he do is he'll suck you in, and then he'll also spawn the notes that you refresh your damage buff on. So that's like one gimmick of the fight is that like he sucks you in. You can let yourself get sucked in. It only does damage in the very end of this caster here. So you can let yourself get sucked in, and then watch for the notes that the notes will spawn towards the end of the cast, and then just use your extra action button to like get out of the thing. And in my case, it's the little release me forward. Refreshes my buff, and I'm out of the circle, right? If you're playing it safe, you could just like fight the suck the entire time, right? Just don't be in the circle when the cast finishes, right? And then the second thing is at 66 and at 33%, he'll do this twice in the fight. He'll do a big shield and a long cast. Pretty much you got to break the shield and kick him. The strategy for this would probably be to like cooldown one less the other if you want to play it safe, because you have to do this twice in the fight, right? Like also if you see these notes, always refresh your buff. So I see the notes, you'll see I'll go to refresh my buff real quick. So always do that because it keeps your damage buff. It's a 25% damage buff. It's obviously insane to have. So right here, I think this is we don't have less for this fight, but we still break the shield. So obviously just like save cooldowns for the shield, save damage for the shield, and you'll be fine. He should do this at 66 and at 33%. So he should be doing it again shortly. So this is the second shield, right? So this shield, maybe I don't have cooldowns for the shield, but it still will break. I think a lot of it relies on you having this damage buff. It's super helpful. If you are playing live, you probably will just have lust. So just lust whatever shield you need to. Break the 2 shields and the boss is over. Like it only does it twice, so should be pretty relaxed. I would say the pack before this is harder than the boss, because this part you just kick the boss and break the shield. And it's pretty much easy, pretty much it. So the next boss, or The last boss of Streets, the fifth boss of the dungeon, is called Sozumi. And the two main changes of this fight is that the room is split into 4 sections instantly on pull, where in Mythic Plus, the room is split as you get him lower and lower. So on pull, there's no split. But right here, the room is split into 4 quadrants. So you have to deal with the little halo mechanic, whatever you'd call this thing, more respectfully, right? You have to actually go through like a more clever portal to cross the what's it called, the sections. Yeah. So, and then the second change is around 70% and around 30ish% somewhere in there. He does this twice a fight. He casts something called Triple Technique. You might remember from Mythic Plus, it's called Double Technique in Mythic Plus, I'm pretty sure. But what it calls, what is it? It requires you to kick the mob 3 times, and every time you kick him, obviously if the cast goes off, you wipe. But this is the start of the mechanic, Triple Technique. He casts it, and every time you kick him, he will teleport to a new quadrant, right? So you see how he's over there casting. The DK is gonna go over there. He's gonna kick it and teleport to a different random quadrant. So I'm like ready to go. I'm ready to teleport to whatever quadrant I need to go to get to like the kick, right? So in this case, the DK runs over and kicks this cast, and he teleports to me, and I instantly kick him because I have the opportunity to. If you have opportunity to kick on this fight, kick him as fast as possible. So right there, he teleports me. I kick it. That's the second cast, and he casts it one more time, and someone goes over there and kicks it. So this is the scariest part of probably the entire dungeon, in my opinion, is this mechanic, because if you somehow fumble the quadrant swaps and don't kick the cast, this will kill you. Like I wiped in one of my practice runs doing this. So, and again, he'll do this at some time. It's the same thing, right? You dodge the halo, but he'll do this mechanic again sometime around like 30ish%. I don't know, somewhere in the mid 30s, maybe 33. He casts it again, right? So like he casts it in this quadrant. So I'm gonna be flexible with these quadrants right here, whatever I need to do, right, to get to the. I'm just gonna camp in a different quadrant, right? So he kicks that. Okay, actually, something I forgot to mention. If there is a bug right now where you see how that only took 1 kick, certain kicks I think like that are not like normal kicks, like priest silence, demo lock kick, Avenger Shield. I think there's probably others too, like maybe Beam, maybe Warrior AoE Roar can bug the fight out and make him only need 1 kick, right? So you can see the demo kicks right here. That was a demo lock kick, and then he only casts 1 time. I don't know if this will be live, but that's not how it's supposed to be. The boss is supposed to cast 3 times. So the strategy is you want to spread people out through quadrants. Maybe you mark the ground. Everyone kind of like camps a quadrant when the time comes with a kick. Or obviously, like if you're a priest healer, you probably can't kick this. So yeah, that's the main thing of the fight. Just spread people out through quadrants and be ready to everyone just to get their kick whenever he teleports around, right? That's the biggest thing of this entire dungeon, honestly. So the sixth boss of the dungeon, aka the first boss of Streets, what he will do, there's two mechanics that have changed in hard mode. One is there's a new ad called the Stormbound Breaker, which goes to cast Lightning Nova over and over and over. As soon as you kick it, he'll cast it again after lockout. So pretty much what you do is you want to kill him as fast as possible and rotate kicks on him. Now the gimmick of this ad is it's easy to rotate kicks, right? But what happens is he summons 2 purifiers, the normal boss ads that the boss does on Mythic Plus. Pretty much he'll spawn these ads, these two, and they'll walk in, they'll cast defense on the boss. If that also, this is what it looks like when a cast goes off. Assume this kills you. We let a cast go off for fun. This is what it looks like. But pretty much the boss ads, they'll cast defense. The strat here is if you don't stop it, the defense, then they won't cast their little spell. Like these guys have their own spell they cast called like Light Bolt or something. I don't know. But pretty much just let the defense go off. Make sure you are stable with the Lightning Nova ad. Kill off the ad and then deal with the other ads, right? Like in this case, we kind of just AoE'd it all down at once. We didn't even stop the defend. We just focused on kicking the Lightning Nova. And that's it. And then, so the second mechanic that changed in hard mode is this console mechanic. Normally when someone channels this, every person can see it. But on hard mode, only the person who is channeling it can see it. So that person needs to communicate which colors go where. This is what it looks like if you're channeling on it. So it looks something like this. But pretty much what the strat we did was disregard this color in the middle, right? Because he's holding a yellow orb. Disregard this color. The strat that we did was as soon as he sees all colors, he would call it top left and then go clockwise, right? So top left, top right, bottom left, clockwise, just like a normal clock would go. He would call out like a blue, yellow, purple, orange, whatever order, and then everyone knows to where to put the color. If you put the color in the wrong console, you instantly wipe. So be careful about that, right? You probably can see. You probably can in this VOD. You'll see how he calls it out. Like I said, our strat is top left, go clockwise. So he'll call out the colors.
Oh shit. Okay. Orange, purple, blue, yellow.
He said orange, so I know that I have an orange. I go to this first one on the top left. Remember, it's top left, clockwise. That's the strategy for this boss. One thing I want to mention is the third and scariest mechanic is when you get the purge by fire, this yellow arrow. What this does is it spawns this beam. That's after one tick, right? If you take 3 ticks of this, you're probably dead instantly. This is a mechanic where you want to be pre-moving, right? In my case, I just like see it and I blink, right? But if you're not a mage, you want to be like pre-moving or using a movement speed or a personal, because this mechanic is actually incredibly scary, right? The purge by fire, I'll show it again, right? Like I want to emphasize this mechanic because if you're standstill casting spells, like notice how I'm moving. If you stand still casting, you will probably die. So like as soon as you see this yellow arrow, be pre-moving, use movement speed, and just get out of it as fast as possible. Watch your health, because this thing will kill you. This purge by fire, like 3 ticks will probably instantly kill you. So just be careful of that one. Second to last boss is Hooktail. This is a pretty notorious boss. But pretty much there's only one mechanic that has changed, and it is, you know how the frontal clears the ads? Well, pretty much that frontal, the ads have a shield on them, which means they need to get hit twice. On Mythic Plus, you just have to hit them one time and they die. But on Mythic Plus, on the hard mode, it's twice. So you'll see, I guess you don't see it from my POV. You can see the little shield in the corner, right? This is how you can tell if they need to be hit twice or not. This shield means they need 2 hits still, right? But once they get hit, then the shields kind of go away and they need to get hit again. So pretty much what you need to do is you need to CC them, like roots, vortex. Like I'm a frost mage, so I have it very easily. And I'm using like blast wave. I'm gonna use frost novas and stuff. Storm bolt goes out, like slows, ice novas, cap totem, and they hit a second time, they actually die, right? So that's the only change of the whole fight. It's a very simple change, but it makes it a lot harder than you think, right? Pretty much the strategy for DPS is you want to stack under the boss. You don't want to be spread out. Being spread is a recipe for disaster. So don't be spread. Just be stacked close to the boss, either like in front of it or behind it. And like if you have ranged slows or ranged roots, like for example, druids, shamans, and mages are probably really good for this fight because druids can vortex, they can mass entangle. No, sorry, they can do both, but they can just mass entangle them. It only lasts 7 seconds, but you know what I mean. Like any ranged root is definitely very strong for this fight. I think shamans can like earth grab and like reset it or something. I play frost mage, so I just throw blizzards and I throw all my novas, right? So they got hit once, and pretty much our mission is to CC them so that the second frontal hits it again. So now he throws another earth grab. I'm gonna frost nova them, stop them at all costs, try to keep them stacked, and then just get him hit again, right? If one misses, it's not the end of the world, right? Like I think we missed one right here. These ads only have 46 million HP. If you miss one, it's not the end of the world. If you miss 4, it might be the end of the world. So the goal is to at least kill like 2 or 3%. If you kill 4, great, that's amazing. But like if there's one ad that's alive, make sure it dies, right? Like I'm obviously killing this ad. Make sure it dies, right? You want to get at least the majority of them. The fight can get really hectic though. So just make sure you group them up and just spam AoE slow them, AoE stop them. The whole thing in this fight is just keep them stacked with it. This is a really good stack, right? Like we're not gonna these two are not gonna die because 2 of them have a shield up, right? But because I know that I'm just gonna go inside and start killing the ads, right? If you get overrun and you're panicking, just kill the ads. They don't have that much HP. and we're kind of under geared right here, so they can actually just die if you miss them. But ideally, you get them with the frontals, right? But like I said, try to look into your talent tree for certain abilities that are very helpful. Right? Like I think like what's some good examples? Like rogue maybe has crippling poison on, warriors piercing howl, paladins like podge blinding. I don't know what else there could be. There's all other stuff obviously, but shamans, druids, and mages are very good for this fight. Any AoE CC you have is just really good for this fight. So just have some good CC. If you don't kill an ad, and this next set comes out, make sure you kill the old ads. That's the biggest thing in this fight. So last boss of the fight, or last boss of the dungeon, is this boss actually has like 3 or 4 different changes. The first change, I think I've never actually seen this myself, but I've heard from 2 different sources that the fight has a 5-minute harden rage. So like if you're in combat for 5 minutes, you'll just like if you're fighting the boss for 5 minutes, he'll just kill you. So it is like kind of a DPS race. Obviously, you definitely want less, but I didn't actually see this harder rage because we killed it in like 4 minutes pretty easily, pretty under geared too. But I'd say if you're 700 eye level, I don't think it should be that of a problem, right? Just don't do 0 damage, and you'll be fine. But yeah, a legend 5-minute harden rage, so be careful about that one. And then the second mechanic is obviously the assassins are normal. Just summons 2 assassins. This is normal Mythic Plus mechanic. But the second mechanic that has changed is this little circle debuff, whatever you call it. This thing you have to soak it 4 times. Every time the Mythic mechanic is that every time you soak it, it starts like sucking the group in, right? So obviously, like one person soaks 1 stack, it sucks you in. The whole gimmick is that you don't want to get sucked in to this while you're being sucked, like because it'll kind of snowball pretty hard, right? So when you soak one, you get sucked. Just be away from the boss. Don't hit the thing. Stabilize because it's AoE damage, and then do it again, right? So right there, we're stable. We're gonna soak it again. Boom. That's the gimmick of this mechanic. That's the only change of this mechanic. So just watch your positioning. I think it. I don't know why it didn't suck right there, but like, just be careful of like just whenever there's people are soaking, just be far from the ads. So that's the second change of the fight. The third change is so the assassins are normal. The third change is that he does this phase, right? In Mythic Plus, these things stay where the same spot is. In hard mode, he shuffles them around. So like right here, we're all posted up by a star, right? All 5 of us. In hard mode, he shuffles them around, right? So we kind of go to our general direction, right? Our general quadrants. But this is like tricky, right? Because they can kind of throw you guys off. So just be ready to like communicate who's going where. I think if you don't like assume that you have to do this in one power of woman, because I'm pretty sure if you miss, it's very, very bad. Just don't miss, okay? Just don't miss. Whatever you do, use movement speeds there to like soak sorry, not to soak, but to get to your orb faster, because when it shuffles, you gotta act fast and communicate fast. He'll do that every intermission, right? So, and then the fight, that's pretty much all it is for the fight. 5-minute hardened rage, suck on the little circle, um, and then the intermission, he shuffles them around. Those are the 3 main changes of this fight. I think ideally you want to tank it towards the stairs. We like tanked it here first, and then we decided next phase that we want to take it towards the stairs because it felt kind of better. But pretty much what happens is in this fight, he'll do the little suck mechanic as well. So he'll summon this, and then pretty much what happens is it's just the same thing as P1, right? Like you soak it and you get sucked in, and then don't get sucked in again because it'll trigger it again, and it's like it snowballs. So just be away from the boss and just deal with the mechanic normally, right? I'm pretty sure, looking at it right now, I'm pretty sure only the first 2 stars are giving us the suck, but I could be wrong. Just play it safe and be away from it, right? Um, don't get dragged into it and then dodge. And then right here after this phase, he will there's a lot of AoE damage going out, so healers make sure to heal. But there's a lot of AoE damage going out. And then yeah, right here he phases and does the shuffle. That was the shuffle, right? So make sure like we all are kind of moving around. See how this guy gets to his thing last minute? Like we gotta make sure you're moving and coordinated well with the shuffle in this mechanic. And after that, you just kill the boss, and that's it. Just do that over and over. Just 3 changes mainly, right? Just the 5-minute hardened rage, the suck mechanic, and then the shuffle in the intermission. So just be careful of all 3 of those, and you'll kill the boss. Now, if you've done all 8 bosses and not died, this is what it'll look like, right? You'll explode with achievements, and then there will be a chest right here, a bonus chest, and it'll have a mythic 1 out of 6 track item. In my case, I got a weapon. I hope I get that alive. Holy shit, that is an insane drop to get. I got a weapon first. If this happens first week, you get a weapon. You are up so good. So, play it safe. Make sure you're max out level before you go in. I hope this guide has helped you. Anyway, I'm trying to explain boss by boss, what's going on as best I can, right? So I appreciate, if you watch this. So, and I hope you guys all have the best time doing this, and I hope you stay safe and don't die. Thank you for watching.